Imagine a girl from a land far away. Although she has dreams, she cannot work, attain an education, nor make her own decisions. What if we told you that this little girl exists? She lives in the heart of many Asian women around the world who find difficulty in strengthening their desire for equal rights between themselves and men. Join me as I explore women's rights abroad and what holds women back from acquiring equal opportunities, whether it's socially, educationally, or domestically. Segregation between men and women not only plagues the laws of many Asian and Middle Eastern countries, but it also often dictates the social scene. We interviewed Kalpana Ramakrishnan, who moved to America from India, and Sangeeta Saxena, who first moved from India to Kuwait as a teenager. Both women experienced such segregation firsthand and were willing to share a few stories from their life.
There was a lot of segregation. There were, if you wanted to see a movie, there was a movie theater separate for the bachelors, for the guys, and then a separate one for families and women. And another big thing that happened in Kuwait while I was there was they opened a new ice skating rink, and we were really excited because having an ice skating rink would add to our social activities. And but again, they had a separate one for men and a separate one for women, so they really reduced the chances of men and women mingling.
The thing that was most common for all the kids in the neighborhood was to play cricket. I mean, play cricket on the streets. I mean, there was no other room. There was no, there was a park, but the easiest thing to do was you go out of the house onto the street and you play cricket. But once you became a teenager, as a girl, um, once I saw my parents coming home, I would bail because it was not acceptable for a teenage girl to be out in the street playing with the boys, not only by my parents, but also by the parents of the boys. It was just not the done thing. Maybe they figured I was better than the boys or whatever, but they didn't like me being out there with the boys. So it's just one of those things. I think in those days we just accepted it. It was part of the culture. It was part of growing up in India.
Although 80% of Nepalese women work, they are burdened by the responsibility of domestic issues at home, such as cooking and cleaning. In India, roughly 71% of women are also in charge of home life. While women in such societies are expected to take care of chores, men are viewed as the decision makers. Bhakti Khadka and Kalpana Ramakrishnan grew up in the areas where this was their social norm.
It's not equal, yes.
Yeah.
It's not equal in lots of ways, like even, like doing the chores, like here, America so much different. Even like I have a brother here married to American. I mean, even he's an engineer. He works full time. He comes home. He has to do the dishes, things like that. I mean, equally everything they do equal, but back home is totally different. Yeah, the men's they don't really do any housework, house chores much. Everything has to done by wife, and decision making mainly done by husbands. So it's kind of I would say still women are oppressed. I mean, they are suppressed and they are not really equally heard in the society.
You have to understand that India is a very strange country. We're a country of contradictions. Our culture is, based on religion, a religion where um, female goddesses overall are portrayed as these deities with a lot of power, with a lot of strength, and they are definitely a lot more vindictive than their male counterparts. In the family, the matriarch is very highly regarded. She controls everything in the household. But for some strange reason, this respect of women doesn't quite completely translate into society.
A provoking factor that prevents women from furthering their place in society is their education level. In Kuwait, women with low education levels tend to work in agricultural areas. However, recent progress has indicated the slowly rising levels of educated women. Over 2 million women in India over 7 years old are considered illiterate to this day, a decrease from 1991 where over 3 million women were illiterate. The Indian Constitution, however, holds that there may be free and compulsory education for all children until they complete the age of 14. Similarly to India, Nepal has a caste system, which is a dominant factor that holds girls back from attending school.
Because if in the family, if the girl is educated, they have seen her life, how she is able to do things. She will have independent. She can earn money. She can support her family, kids. Even the husband's left or anything happens, she can self-support it. So, I mean, education is the main thing. I think we can really bring change.
In terms of going out and making a career for themselves or getting educated, there were absolutely no restrictions placed on them. And like I said, there were Kuwaiti women in at universities, and they also held jobs in the government, and so there weren't restrictions as such for the women.
They're teaching about hygiene, and then also they're equally teaching about how the girls can be treated as a boy. You need to treat your girls, daughters as equally to the son, but they need to get opportunities. So if we can give this message, maybe it will bring change.
We should be proactive and take action, and have a sense of humor as well. I mean, it's a common thing. A woman's place is in the house. I would counter with saying a woman's place is not only in the house, it's also in the Senate, it's in the Oval Office, it's in the boardroom, it's in the kitchen, it's in other places where important work is being done.
But what are the solutions? How do we get our girls to dream big, to look beyond a role in domestic life? We talked to various people here in Saratoga to get some ideas.
Well, women, first of all, we need to be more confident. Really, I think it starts from education and from the family, that young girls need to to have more confidence in themselves and believing that they could do the same thing as men could, and advance their education and try different things, and a lot really come from the women themselves.
Well, I think we need to reach out to poorer women and empower them as much as possible. I think employment, just giving women jobs and men as well. But another thing is we need to raise the consciousness of men to treat women in a more equal fashion.
10 years ago, you had like one female engineer in 100. Today, you have like, I don't know, 20, 30. But I think still, if you go around and ask people will feel that it's all men. And this is no longer true. And the less people believe that this is true, the more female we will get in this industry as well.
We came into this project thinking we would find heart-wrenching stories that portrayed the stereotype that women are not progressing in many third-world societies, that there would be numerous examples of gender discrimination. Instead, we discovered that there are many more positives than negatives. Although these problems still exist, it's getting much clearer that these nations are on the path to equality.